Welcome to my channel. Today we will visit the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and spend some time with Jin Suk Park, who is a postdoctoral fellow specializing in cancer metastasis. Hi, Jin Suk.
Hello everyone, hi, my name is Jin Suk and I'm a postdoctoral fellow here at the Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. So I'm here as a cancer biologist studying a cancer metastasis. Basically what it means is that I'm studying how the cancer cell spread through their body. So this is a very common problem that we have with the disease as a cancer. So we are trying to, here at Sloan Kettering, we are trying to learn about this process and thus figure out a novel treatment so that eventually hopefully we can help patients.
So Jin Suk, can you explain to us what your day-to-day life is like as a scientist?
Sure, it's nothing spectacular. So I go to the lab in the morning and then I start some experiments. So typically the experiment I design the day before or a couple of weeks before, so it has a long-term planning. And the experiment actually is designed to answer specific research questions, whether specific protein whether it's expressed in cancer, whether that has to do with any cancer migration, invasion, metastasis, this kind of aspect. So we are trying to come up with a question that is relevant to treat this cancer. Once we find that question, then we design an experiment that actually were to address, give us some answer to what we want to know. So those kind of experiments can vary quite a lot in terms of the degree of complexity. We can have a Western blot just to see a protein expression detection, where you could do a perturbation where you can express certain oncogene or certain protein cells. So there are many different kind of experiment that one can do in order to address even a single question. So that's something that I am, and it's not typically, and also depending on the complexity of the experiment, one experiment could take not just one day, but sometimes months. So this is time management is quite a key thing to be a scientist. So and once you have done that, then obtaining the data is just one step. So the next step is, of course, you need to analyze it properly in order to again to see whether it properly answer your questions or not, and then you should be able to present your cases, your data to others for validation, to get suggestion, feedback. Because as a scientist, we don't work alone. It is actually more teamwork. So we have a phenomenal colleague, especially here in Sloan Kettering, where we can give a certain question or feedback to each other, and we get better questions, better approaches to target the question that we want to address. So with that, so it's very continued feedback cycle, the asking question, doing the experiment to get the answer that we are looking for and what we are trying to address, and then we assess those data and back and forth, and eventually when we are ready, then we write a paper or go to a conference to present our finding to others. Because in science, sharing data and sharing what your discovery is quite important. That's why we do this, and unfortunately it takes time. That's why we are continuously in a daily basis, we come to the lab doing this experiment to help finding the answer and the truth.
All right, thanks for the answers. And some of the students may have questions such as, do I really need to be smart to be a scientist? Or is it more of a perseverance you have to practice? Or what traits makes a successful scientist?
Yeah, that's a couple of really excellent questions. So first, just to answer the first question, I'm a scientist, but I'm not smart. So that answers your first question, right? You don't have to be smart to be a scientist. No, but you do have to be curious about how the world works, how the human body works, how the disease are affecting people. So you have to be able to ask questions, be willing to devote your time, your life into figuring out the answer that you're looking for. And sometimes it is difficult because this kind of question that we are trying to address to help human patients, these kind of questions are not easy, right? So there are people still, even this day, are affected by it. So we have to be patient. It takes time and effort to find right answer, right cure. Sometimes we make mistakes. That's something that we have to also deal with. So we have to address all these kind of different perspectives. So perseverance is definitely a key aspect, and being able to enjoy what you do, and being able to ask questions, being able to interact with other colleagues, and being willing to be wrong, but willing to continue until you find the right answer. I think that is actually the daily life that we face as a scientist. It's a nice lobby too, right here. So the MSK here, Memory Sloan Kettering, we have a special logo which represents what we are trying to do. So basically, it has a 3 horizontal bars with the upper arrow going straight up. So it has a special meaning. So first horizontal arrow on the bar, it represents preventive measurement. Second is treatment, and the third part is about research. And this is what we are trying to do as a cancer center, how we are trying to prevent cancer disease, make treatment, and also conduct research to facilitate this disease, or the fight against this disease. And all this have to work together, and we have an upper arrow which represents that everyone here in Sloan Kettering are trying to enhance or promote this all 3 bar together in order to again target and fight against cancer.
Can you explain your relationship with your mentor and explain to us how that is helping you developing your career and personal growth?
Excellent question. So as being a scientist, we have to go through a number of training process, and here in that process, having a great mentor is quite essential. So first of all, when to become a scientist, people typically go to their graduate school, and they choose their mentor, their PhD mentor, and even when I'm a postdoctoral fellow, I also still interact with my the research mentor as well. So the research mentors are basically the people who have already taken the step that I am taking currently, right? So 50 years ago, they were the graduate students. So they know they have went through this process of being trained, and they also went through a process of training other students and scientists as well. And these people have a much broader idea. They are one of the leading scientists in their specific field. So they are actually the gold standard in terms of where all the researches are, all the knowledge of the researches are provided. So having this kind of mentor is really helpful in terms of addressing whether your question, the research question, is important or not, whether it is first of all doable, and whether it's going to have big impact to the scientific community and also the patient's life. Because as a young scientist, it's hard for us to know whether it's going to have any effect, in fact, in long term. So having this different perspective of experts from your mentor is key to actually, to address shortcomings that we all have as a young scientist. Because basically we can summarize as young scientists are very energetic but naive, but these older higher educated mentors, they are very wise, and they are very good at seeing which project is important, which project is not going to success, for example. So they have a better idea of how the project should be geared towards, and this kind of having this kind of advice is quite important as a scientist for my career.
Okay, so they're saying in the healthy body, healthy spirit resides. And could you explain to us how you maintain the good work-life balance and you maintain your health?
For me, I like to play the clarinet, so I am quite an active player. I used to be in the orchestra, and I also practice every day. So that really helped me to have something different, not just the science in my life, but something quite musical, that give me some different perspective in the life as well. So that also interact with the different colleagues, right? Not just scientific colleagues, but also musically talented colleagues, and that actually broadens my perspective and also my most important is that you want to be happy and to keep doing what you want to do. Some people are for some people that's like running. So I have a colleague who will run every day to help them fit and physically, and also help them mentally throughout this their endurance process of scientific journey as well. So that would be my advice.